Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome to the Christopher Marc Show. So today I have an amazing uh, voice artist. He. Let me tell you, y'all, you guys are in for a treat with this one. Kyle, can you tell everybody your full name and what you do?
Yeah, 100%. My name is Kyle Thomas Coleman. I am a professional voiceover artist. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So can you tell everybody a little bit about what got you started as far as getting into doing voiceovers? Was it that moment where you were like, I can make different sounds with my voice, and now this is like the thing that I'm going to do?
So it's funny that you asked that because there's a couple things. The first thing that really stands out is I remember my parents from like a young age would always be like, Kyle, you talk a lot. I was like, if you could ever make a profession out of talking, you should look into that. And that, like, I think was like the first step for me. But one day, I remember back in like my senior year of high school, I'd been like thinking about, especially like what college looked like. And I was like, well, what is it I'm really passionate about? And then one day, I remember for the first time in my life, it felt like my heart and my mind came together when I thought, well, voiceover was pretty cool. And I love like animation. I love video games, and being able to like contribute in that and leave something behind in the world is like the most appealing thing to me. When I tell you that everything that I've pursued in like pursuit of that has been like 100%, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Wow. Was it so when people say that you talk a lot, what did that entail? Like, were you like did you have a lot of emotions as a kid? Was it like you were very expressive? Did you have a lot of energy? Because like, sometimes like that happens, like when you're younger, you just have all this energy and you just want to talk about everything. So what made people say that about you?
Yeah, specifically like my parents, and just even other people told them, like, your kid loves to talk about anything, and I could have a conversation truly about anything. So for me, what that looked like, I guess, when you're taught from a young age, like listening as a part of a conversation, I think I missed that word. Because like, if I had anything to say about any topic, whether it be like, man, there's so many random topics, like what fruit I had for breakfast or anything like that, is immediately going to make sure everybody knew what I had to say about it. And I really feel satisfied until I got to speak about it. Now, granted, I like grew out of that after a time. But especially from like a young age, man, if I had something to say, you best bet everybody within like a 50-foot earshot was going to hear it.
Do you personally feel like you talk a lot? I mean, I personally, like, even for myself, I know I do this professionally, but I personally feel like, I'm just talking. But do you feel like you're talking a lot, or do you feel like you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm in the moment?
That's how I feel as an adult. I feel more as that I'm in the moment reacting to things as opposed to just like constantly talking. And especially as I've grown, I've realized like how much more I find it interesting to get other people's perspective and then to respond.
Right.
There's something that a lot of people say acting is reacting. That's kind of the way conversations have turned for me. It's like, that's about what they have to say. Now I even give my input, especially if it's asked, but I'm more interested to hear what other people have to say.
Gotcha. So would you say that, that you call it, is it called voice acting, or is it voice? Most
Voice acting, voiceover. Yeah, most people say voiceover professionally, but I see it both ways.
Okay. Yeah, because you are acting. I mean, you're switching up your voice and things like that to create, an emotion and feelings for people to imagine. So what would you say, when did you know that this was your gift? When did you know that this was like the moment that was like, okay, this is what I love to do?
So there's like a very, very specific moment that touched out for me. So I was actually taking a voice class in college, and we were doing this exercise where for about 20 minutes, we were doing intensive breathing to get as low into your diaphragm as you could. And the point was, after that, we're going to do a monologue, and you're going to try it with the most grotesque voice you can produce. So after we did it, I remember like, he sat us down, he turned off the lights, and he was like, okay, one at a time, stand up, go up. And I was like, feel it, let's just do it. So I stood up, and I think that was probably the day I produced like the most deep voice I could produce. And it set for me because after I was done, when I say like he turned on the lights, and in the classes, Jim was dropped. Like, he was Kyle. no way. That's insane. And then the professor was like super kind about it. After the exercise, like he stopped and he was like, can we take a second to acknowledge what just happened? Tyler, that was incredible. If you would not have told me that was you, I never would have guessed. There was no way. And for me, that like really registered like, wow, I actually might really have a talent for this. And I just remember how it felt to do a voice that was so different. I'd always imagine like these different voices in my head, and I can do a pretty good bit, but it's like nothing to that point was that extreme and that different from anything I'd ever done. It made me love it that much more. And it wasn't even just like the praise, it was how I felt about it. I was like, this is super cool.
You know, and that is amazing that you share that story, because it's like you get a chance to. It's different when people see you in another light, like then, and you're like, man, like I didn't think it was that big of a deal, or you know what I mean? Like you're doing something that you might feel comes natural, but then people are like, oh my God, this is amazing.
And I love the way you put that as well, because it's exactly that. Like it's something that felt natural to me. And I mean, like the diversity in it doesn't feel that impressive to me. But when you get other people like to hear it for the first time that are like, what? I didn't even do that. It's how I feel about the professional voiceover artists, where I hear them do like entirely different voices. I'm like, how is that the same person? So to like be recognized that I have that same ability, and man, that was an awesome moment.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So let me ask you this: how many different types of voices can you do?
I would say if I had a good warm up and I was really in it on a good day, I could do anywhere from 5 to 7 voices. And I say 7 just because like I might try to pull them off. I might miss it, but I would say at least 5.
5 to 7 voices. Okay, so when you're doing these voices, is it to associate, what kind of character does it associate with? So is it more like, like a teddy bear, or like or like a man, woman, child, like or dog, like what is the categories that you have as far as your voicing?
Yeah, so I can give a couple of examples with that, right? The other thing I touch on a lot is I really enjoy accent work, especially like English accents. Oh man, I love that. As far as like the characterization goes, I have a very high pitched like that I would consider more of like a Mickey Mouse type voice, right? And then I have like a very deep voice, which I need a little bit of for it. But have you seen The Boys?
The Boys?
The Boys on Amazon?
Boys. I haven't watched. I watched like a couple episodes, and I just was like, it was hard to like, because it's so many episodes now. It's like I'm trying to get into the groove of it, and I always get distracted by something. But yeah, I've seen.
Highly recommend it. And also like there's this one character that's very infamous in the show. His name is William Butcher. He's like an I guess he's Aussie. I think he's Aussie. And he's got like a very distinct deep voice that I love to replicate. And that's like another range I get. So I do have your bigly manly man. That's my deep voice. I consider like my standard voice, like, if we were watching animation, like one of the side characters to a main character, that would be the voice I would probably go for. And then, as like I said, I have that higher range. And if I've got the right key and got like the right vocal profile in my head, sometimes, as we talked about over the phone earlier, I can hit a feminine voice.
Yeah, the feminine voice is the one where it throws people off. That's the one where it's like, okay, I had no idea that you could do that. And
And that was the center. They always get left speechless about that. They're like, wait, you can actually do.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about you,
Usually recommend keep the muzzle one away from the friends, but
yeah. So what was it that, like, out of all the voices that you do, what's the one that you love doing the most?
The deep voice. It's like my go-to. If I want to play with the voice, I will jump into a deep voice. Yeah,
so you're,
I love it.
You're very okay. I got you. Okay, all right. I see you.
It also feels like the most different for me, if that makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong. Like if I get sick and nasally, yeah, my voice is gonna drop an octave. But It just feels,
Mm.
especially because, like, let's say if you saw me in person, I'm like a 5'5" guy. I look like, I could be an IT. But then if you hear me do a voice like that, you're like, that guy's a different person.
It's funny because it's like when you ever wake up in the morning. I don't know if you have a person or significant other, but like you call this person on the phone and you're just like, dog, and it's like,
Yeah. Yes, I'm exactly what you mean. Like, hey, baby, what's up? That deep voice in the morning, especially if they caught you like in the middle of the night. Oh, bro, that's a game changer for me. Yeah.
oh my god, you know how many conversations I had. And people was like, I never for you. I don't understand why.
That's really. I think I had those conversations if I have been up for like a whole day. Man, it's crazy. My
Right.
voice like entirely changes, and it's not something I do. It's like it comes out of my own exhaustion.
Yeah. I think that's the thing where you have that gift, man. Every person doesn't have it. Some just have like the high pitched voice, and they might have the medium monotone voice, but it's never like that deep, like, And I was always
Right.
wondering, like, I looked it up. I was like, why is it that certain men have deep voices, but it's usually they have a lot of wisdom behind them. They have a lot of they're very grounded. They're very kind of calm about a lot of things. So their voice, the register of it actually adapts to their personality.
Yeah,
funny,
it's
like-
really crazy you say that. I 100% agree. It's like people's voice is kind of a reflection of their personality.
Yeah. It's so weird. So you like the deep voice. What is the process of actually warming up, of actually getting, yourself in that mode?
Yeah, no, I'd say I know for everybody it's different. For me, it looks like not only taking a couple deep breaths, but also like kind of like going through my own vocal register and trying to hear it, especially when you have a microphone and you can listen to your voice back. I think that makes the whole difference. There's only so much that we can actually hear from our own voice because, we don't hear ourselves the way we actually sound. With that being said, I mean, there's like a lot of vocal exercises that people recommend for going like A, E, I, O, U, where you go around your whole register like that. I know a lot of people, and I do this, they swear by like even doing like massages on your jaw, getting like your jaw open. There's a lot that you can do, and it works different for each person. I'd say the main important thing for me though is breathing and listening to myself, and then visualizing. Visualizing is such a huge thing for me. I have to like not only hear the voice, but I have to like feel it. Does that make sense? And I have to like have that mental image in my head of what that wants to sound like and do my best to replicate it as a result. That's why I quote the visualization.
It makes sense. Because I actually have to do the same thing when it comes to singing. So if, it's more like getting into that mindset, and then I can't just sing any song because the song has to like, I have to feel it, like, and so, feeling the song and then warming up and then getting into that mode of like, okay, all right, I'm getting ready to look. And it depends on what it is. Like if it's rock or if it's like opera, like it just depends on whatever it is, but I have to kind of prep so long in advance for it. That's why I just be like, it takes a while. But once you get it, you get it,
Yeah, and when I was a part of musicals in college as well, like I would see the lead performers who were going to have to sing like 11 to 12 songs. And like songs can be diverse. You can have a very upbeat song, you can have a very slow, low-key song, and it's just hard to get your voice into that. But I also like what you said as well, where you have to feel that song. Ultimately, I think everybody can sing a song, but there's a difference in when you like really feel somebody engaged in it and somebody, I guess, for lack of a better word, like performing it, living it. And that's where I think the difference of like actually getting into it is.
Do you sing?
I sing a lot by myself. I will be honest that I do have like stage fright specifically when it comes to singing. I don't think I'm a bad singer by any means. I'm not going to say I'm the best singer, but like, and I always thought, and this is something I plan to do within this year. It's on my year list actually. I used to get up and do karaoke and a live place to like try to get by a trial by fire to get over it. Especially because in the voiceover field, like singing is a great tool to also practice your voice. And it is one of the ways that you are going to open up a lot of your range. You're going to find so much of it. And I've also found a lot of it through singing. Doesn't mean you hit every note 100% accurate all the time. When you get through a song, you know, and you feel like, dang, I nailed that. It's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling. You know, I think that's the one thing I love about it, because it's like, you get to pour your energy into it, and it's certain songs that just makes it so much more easier
Yes,
to really get emotional with, you know what I mean? Like it's just beautiful. I love it. I can't imagine.
I'm right there with you. I've got like, I'm sure you do as well. I'm curious to hear what they are, you know, like even 2 or 3 songs that when you're like driving home from work and you're like, oh yeah, I got to put on this song, and you can't help but sing along. Those are like, that is the epitome.
Yeah, I find that so this is the fun fact. I find that female songs like Adele or like those are songs that, like, for me emotionally they work within my register so that I can actually perform, you know. I mean, I sing other types of songs as well, like rock music, different types of stuff like that. But there's certain songs that's like, I find like female songs are actually the ones where I can pour more emotion into and connect with. Yeah.
No, and I hear that as well. I'm the same way. I mean, like, there's a couple female artists, like, heck, I think even Olivia Rodrigo, like one of her songs, I'm like, man, I will pour out for that song. That song goes crazy for me. I think it's Vampire. But you know, like with that as well. Yeah, I know. That there's just something of like what you feel as a connection to a song. And you know, truth be told, like some of my favorite covers when artists do covers is usually when it's like a male artist song or a female artist song done by the opposite sex. And sometimes those covers are insane. Like I think Avril Lavigne's "This Is How You Remind Me." I don't remember who the original artist is. I think Kurt, but anyways, I love that cover. I think it's, for lack of a better term, I think it's actually better than the original for me. So no, I love that.
Yeah, it's like I think I don't know if you ever heard of the Sundays or, you know, Wild Horses by
I think about Wild Horses.
So Wild Horses was by I think it was Rolling Stones. And so
nice. Yes.
They but the Sundays actually did another version of that. And I actually like that version way better, just because it just has like this emotional energy behind it. So it just creates this whole nother vibe. It's amazing.
That's the other thing I love so much about singing, man. It's like one artist singing a song versus another artist singing. It's like an entirely different song. Lyrics can be exactly the same, but the feeling, everything about the song feels entirely different.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I think that's the beauty of being an artist. You get the chance to do whatever you envision. So, you know, so my next question for you is do you have any other hidden talents that people don't know about?
Yeah, so this is not something I actively talk about. Happy to share it now. I'm actually really into swordsmanship. I mean, it's not something I do every day, but since I was a kid, man, so I grew up on a 200-acre farm. So playing with your imagination out there was like highly encouraged. And I think it was around like the age of 6 or 7, I was like noticing that we had a lot of swords in the house. Like we had a lot of family swords. And I was like, I want to play with these. Like, play. But when I started picking them up, I was like realizing that I had like a real gift for like the accuracy, the ability to like swing it around. And even today, I feel like I've done so many hours into like practicing swordsmanship that it's never different. It's like I could pick it up a week later and I would still be fluent. For me, it's kind of the same way that I think dancers feel with their bodily expression when they're doing a piece. For me, that's how I feel with swordsmanship. It's like your body feels completely alive. You feel all of your body. And it's like, let's say if I'm going out on a walk by myself and I'm just kind of like imagining things. 9 out of 10 times, I'm imagining like what it would feel like or what like different sword trick I can try. Man, I love it. So
it sounds like, you know, uh, any girl would feel protected by you, as long as you have a sword in your hand.
I think my right feels that way. Seriously.
Yeah, it's like you're like old school with it. You're like on guard, and it's like, instead of like putting up your dukes or whatever, like all of a sudden you just have this sword with you, and now you can protect her and be like, oh, I'm good.
I always made a joke that I was like, and this is something serious. Like, I don't carry it for any reason, just in case I ever needed it. I doubt I would. I keep one sword in the back of my car, just as like you never know, like if somebody's trying to rob you with anything like that, like you never know. So I'm like, then people are going to be like, hey, I'm gonna, shoot up. And I'd be like, hey man, can you give me like 10 seconds? I need to get my sword out of the
It's like, let me explain something to you. A person can have a gun, but if a person pulls out a sword, you're like, bro.
No, 100%. I was like, no, I'm not messing. Like, I'd be out of there.
You pulled out a sword. You could have got something else or asked anything else.
If you see a girl put on a katana, you better run the other way, because you may do something crazy.
That's the sword where it's like, because here's the thing, like, especially like, what kind of swords do you use? Like, is it more like the
katanas?
The katana. Okay, yeah. So never mind. Yeah.
I got this one really cool one that it looks like a walking stick. It's the sword is in a bamboo sheath, so it's literally like wood. And then when you open it up, it pulls out the full blade. Dude, if somebody pulled that on me, I would like probably just start crying. I was like, man, I accept them.
That's so cool.
It is awesome.
Cool. It's like one of those. You ever see those movies where I think it's like a blind guy? He got this wooden thing.
Yes, 10%.
Blind Fury.
Yes,
yeah, and he pulled out the sword. He had a little stick and everything. Yeah, it's just like that. I'm like, man, it's crazy.
That's why that idea actually came to me when I bought the sword. I was like, thinking about all the movies I'd seen where like some old samurai has like a cane, and you're like, oh, it's his walking stick, and then he pulls out a blade from it, and you're like, oh, dude. This guy's not messing around.
Man, this is the prime example of never judge a book by its cover.
For real.
Now, my last question to you is: do you ride a horse? You ride a horse, and you know how to do swordman. You done? I'm done.
You know what's actually really crazy that you asked that? So, from a young age, I was actually raised to ride a horse. Now, I don't actively do it, but
and there's no. Oh, this over.
You have to make sure we're still good at things. No, I've been so I grew up on a 200-acre farm, and my dad was he was a cattle farmer. My mom has always been super huge into raising horses. And now in North Carolina, she actually runs a brewery with her current partner where they raise horses, they store horses, and they also like train people how to ride horses. I think she said she has over like 25 clients right now. So yeah, from until I was about the age 13 or 14, when I ultimately told my mom, I was like, I love you, I'm not passionate. I didn't enjoy. If you threw me on a horse right now, I could get somewhere.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm sure that these are some impressive things to actually have in a conversation with somebody. You know what I mean? Like just to let them know, hey, I ride a horse. I know how I'm a swordsman. Okay. But I like to, play around with female voices as well. So I don't want you to think that I'm...
Yeah. Catch me on Fortnite if you ever want to play a game. Like...
I want you to think I'm all manly, I'm like, ran. Like,
yeah, I know. People look at me and they're probably like, this guy is just like your average IT 9-to-5 guy. And if they actually have like a full conversation, it's crazy. But it's actually really funny going back to what we said at the start, even about like voice talent. It's wild. Even the skills we just discussed as a result, those are things that to me feel kind of natural. Now, I'll be honest, like horseback riding is a lot less natural than the other two. But it's still like when I remember a couple of my friends telling me for the first time that they had never ridden a horse. I was like, how? Isn't that something normal everybody does? And then I'm like, no, you're wrong. Not everybody rides horses like that.
Yeah, no, it's not a common thing. Basically, you're like John Wick. But
I'm the John Wick of Horsemen and
well,
Swords.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like, just let me do my voiceover. Leave me alone.
I think I'm doing those 100%. Leave me. I'm just waiting for that one casting call where they're telling that they need a swordsman to ride on horseback. I'm up to my instant. Let me speak to you.
Oh, that's insane. That's insane. So, with everything that you've done thus far in your career, what does the future look like for you?
Yeah, so just being honest, I'm in a phase right now where I'm looking to get more auditions and also to get more involved with the voiceover community. And what that looks like for me right now is I actually have been talking to a voiceover coach about what next steps are there. And I'm really interested in working with this specific person. I want to pronounce her last name, but I know I'll butcher it. Her first name is Erin. Anyways, but she's a super amazing artist. And we've already agreed that we would work together. It's just a matter of like, as we can all understand in this financial economy, sometimes you got to be at a more stable situation where you're like ready to pursue. And I think that's the other big thing about voiceover that's probably the most intimidating for people starting out, which is sad that it is that way, is, you need a professional demo done. You need to have potentially a reel. Having a website is great. I wouldn't say it's 100% required, but having a website is definitely important. But the most important thing is having a voiceover coach. There's only so much that we can hear that we're doing on the mic, and so much reception that we can hear from our own voice, even listening to it on tape, that you really do need another professional there for, even if that's like a close friend. Awesome. But I think the truth of the matter is you do need always a secondhand opinion on that, and also somebody to help push you to grow. That's especially true for me. I'm the kind of person who there's only so much I can do on my own, and I recognize that. So yeah, that's where I think looks like for me next steps. Got a great demo right now. I'm looking to get another one sometime in the near future. And then the rest is just practicing voices and pushing auditions.
It sounds amazing. I mean, it's not, I think as an artist, it's, trying to find what works for you and trying to find like, okay, this is where I'm going, and just continuing. That's really the hard part. But, I think once you have something that you love, it gets easier from there. It really does, because it's just like you have a vision in mind and you have an outcome in mind. So you're just like, okay, so the rest of this is really just the journey, and yes, I just have to kind of go along with it. So that's pretty cool, man. It's just like, I'm sure I know that you'll do great, because you just, you're very diverse in what you do. So yeah.
Dang, well, thank you. I appreciate that as well. And that, that leads me to like one last thing that I really want to encourage to anybody who may hear this as well, which is there's going to be probably a pretty decent amount of people in the world who have this ideology that you need to have like a set path. There needs to be like a 100% end goal and how to get there. And that's not at all how it is. The biggest thing that I love about how my voiceover journey is going is that I know that it's unique, and it's unique to me. Your life, every choice you make is ultimately going to lead you some way to where you're either supposed to go or to where you want to go. And especially when you have the drive for that concrete goal, it may not be tomorrow, it's not a marathon, but eventually you're going to get there. Hard work pays off, especially when you have the drive for it. So don't ever be discouraged that, hey, I didn't get that audition today, or XYZ happened. It happened for this person, didn't happen for that person. Be happy for them and know that your journey is going to lead you to where you want to go.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So Kyle, how can people, if people are like, I like him, he's a very nice guy, I would like to learn how to use swords. How can people find you on social media, online, things like that?
I would say probably the easiest way to find me right now is if you have access to a LinkedIn profile, you can type in Kyle Coleman. I believe I'm one of the first results that pops up. And if you also search voice actor, I'm not sure I stand on that list, but if you type in Kyle Coleman on LinkedIn, you can pop me up. I'm always happy to connect with other artists, other people who would like to talk about anything, life, anything. So yeah, you can just reach out to me there. Within the next month or two, I do plan to have my website back in fully operational order, where you can go to thekylecoleman.com and you can send me a direct message there if you prefer. But 9 out of 10 times, I would say LinkedIn is going to be the fastest way to reach me.
Sweet, man. Kyle, it was a pleasure to have you here on the show. I appreciate you sharing all your wisdom, your advice, and the fact that you are a superhero.
In books and in real life, right?
Oh my God. Be like, really? Maybe he's just joking. No, I really have sort of. Right, horse, whole thing.
Look, man, I can't wait until the anime comes out about a swordsman on a horse. Trust me, I will be the first on that audition list.
When you're going to kill it. I can offer you this, you're going to kill it. But I appreciate you being here on the show. I hope you guys enjoy this segment with Kyle, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Take care.